Jim Duke Radio Network. A rational voice in a world of conspiracy. Jim Duke Perspective.
My website is jimdukeperspective.com, and you can find us on all the apps. We're on all the different podcast apps and players, except for we're not on YouTube as far as our old channel name, because Jim Duke Perspective is a banned site now. And my URL doesn't work on Facebook. It's banned. It's forbidden. It's a forbidden URL. But I do have a YouTube channel backup, Jim D Perspective. That's very clever, isn't it, of me, Darrin, to hide my name a little bit so that they don't trick the algorithms to flag me. But anyway, that's what you got to do in this game. So
yep, beat them at their own game.
Yeah, sometimes you have to be obscure on the public forums. But on the podcast, we can let loose a little bit. Behind the scenes, we can even do more on the Patreon. So sometimes I let loose some of the things on Patreon. And if you're not a subscriber to us there, you can. And I have some messages behind the scenes and some private things I put up there for people that are patrons. So I'd like to look at this. It came up a couple times, Darrin, and I know this is one of your favorite type of topics. And I'm not saying there's credibility to it. I'm saying that this is out there. But this Mandela Effect examples have come through again. And I can account for some of them and their false remembrance. And people don't like that because they don't like to think that they saw things false, so they defend it. And I think a lot of times when you bring up something and you say, do you remember it like this? And they say, no. So therefore, it must have changed. And you say, no, I remember it like that. And I think it was just a lack of memory. People will argue and fight you on it because they don't want to think that they lost their minds. And I think they almost go into, how we talk about people that aren't in the truth. You tell them something and they just disbelieve it because they don't want their paradigm to shift, and they go into a cognitive dissonance. I think truthers can go into a cognitive dissonance of denial also, not wanting to rationally accept the fact that maybe society, even as a whole, remembers some of these things wrongly. But the whole substantiation of this whole thing called Mandela Effect was around the guy Mandela, Nelson Mandela. And this Fiona Broome, is that her name? Yeah. Fiona Broome began talking to people about her memories of things that she remembers that she now sees has changed. And when Nelson Mandela, they announced his funeral, his death in 2013, it struck people to come out and say, wait a minute, what do you mean his death in 2013? He died in prison, don't you remember? And people started saying, yeah, I do remember. He died in prison in the 1980s. How is it that he all of a sudden lived and now he's, got a funeral? He lived to like 90? Well, the explanation is very simple, Darrin. He didn't die in prison. Obviously, right? Now, you may say he did. I remember he didn't. So if I remember he didn't clearly, and you remember he did clearly, are both of us right? We
Impossible.
can't be. We can't be. You can't have two illogical, what's it called? You can't have two oppositions true at the same time, relating to the same thing. But Nelson Mandela, I remember the issue over the apartheid, and he was an activist, and he went to jail in Africa, and he was released in the 1980s. And I remember that clearly because, first of all, I didn't know who Nelson Mandela was until that moment. Secondly, I didn't know what the apartheid was until that moment. So I clearly remember he was released from prison because they said, oh, this guy's released. I don't even know what he did. But Fiona Broome remembers him dying in prison. Could she cite the year and the time and how he died? I don't know. But we know that he was released from prison. He lived a peaceful life the rest of his life until in his 90s, I think. That's what I remember of him. Now, I brought this up to somebody, and they said, you must be a crossover from the quantum paradigm, from the quantum dimension. You must be a crossover. So, Darrin, you are now speaking to an enigma. I am an enigma. I don't exist in this parallel universe.
Well, keep in mind, there is other dimensions. I was watching a YouTube video on some high schooler explaining the fourth dimension, and it was very fascinating.
That's great.
So perhaps that has something to do with it.
People have a lot of fascinating subjections that they come up with a lot of quantum terms that you and I don't know what they mean. And when we do see something about what they mean and say, well, I guess this could make sense, we think that they are so intelligent coming up with this stuff that it must be true.
I mean, the fourth dimension.
The people that come up with this, the people that...
Well, the Bible even implies there's up to like 12 dimensions, 11 dimensions.
Where?
And science has proven.
All right, where does it say that in the Bible? Because
let me Google it, because I remember seeing it.
Google that, but I want to move on. So
okay.
I want to talk about, first of all, that was the first Mandela Effect. Mandela. Now, do you remember him in prison?
I remember. I wasn't paying attention.
Do you remember him released?
Actually, I don't. I was probably preoccupied in my life back then with other things.
And that one got me. That one didn't get me because I remember it clearly. So, therefore, I'm against the Mandela Effect people on that one. All right? So that's one down.
I got one for you. Fruit Loops.
Well, I know. I got a bunch of them here. All right.
Okay. F-R-O-O-T.
Yeah, I remember that.
I clearly remember that one as a kid. Yep. And now it's F-R-U-I-T. So.
Okay.
And I get a memory so sharp, it's scary. I remember when I was like 2.5 years old. Anyway.
I don't remember that being the changed one. I remember Fruit Loops. And I don't remember it being F-R-O-O-T.
It was back in the 70s.
That makes me an enigma. All right, that's one down.
Now it's F-R-U-I-T.
Your favorite one is the Monopoly Man. You like that one?
I clearly remember his eyepiece with the top hat. It wasn't the peanut guy either. So
okay, well, that's what they say it was. I can't attest for that one because I don't really... recall exactly. I could picture him with a monocle.
And Curious George had a tail. Clearly remember.
I don't. I was a fan of Curious George because he never swung on it or anything.
Saddlewood Elementary, standing there with a friend Matt. We were looking at the book, and I clearly remember looking at that tail. So
I don't.
Standing there waiting for the bell to ring as we're outside. Yep.
I don't remember that one. Berenstain Bears. I don't remember them as a Jewish Bears. Do you?
That one I'm not sure of.
That one I'm positive of. I am positive, in my mind, that it was Berenstain Bears. It's always been Berenstain Bears. And I gave this story before. Do you know how I remember it?
What was that?
We owned a daycare. We had a daycare back, 20 years ago or whatever, right? This was well before the Mandela Effect, right? 20, 25 years ago, I bought the book series from a used library for the kids. And I remember picking up the series and actually seeing Berenstain Bears and saying to myself, oh, that's weird. Everybody says Berenstein. And I thought it was Berenstain Bears. I see it's Berenstain Bears. I bet you people don't even catch that. And I saw that back then and even said, I bet you people don't even catch that. And little do you know, 25 years later, people are bringing it up that they remember clearly it was Berenstain Bears, and they remember S-T-E-I-N as a Jewish Bears, and I remember clearly as S-T-A-I-N, because I questioned it back then that people were saying it wrong. So could people be saying it wrong and subliminally in our minds we picture the name wrong? Could be. I think so. What about Jiffy peanut butter? It's always been
Jif.
Jif.
J-I-F.
Yep, they say Jiffy.
Jiffy.
They
Wait
say
a minute. Jiffy. That one I'm not sure of.
Okay, well, that's one that's another one that gets people.
Mm-hmm.
There was never an FY at the end.
Jiffy. Maybe they're thinking of, let's see, Jiffy. Jif. Not sure.
Okay. J.C. Penney. Spelt like the coin?
It used to be.
I never saw that.
I'm pretty sure.
Nope, because I remember seeing J.C. Penney as a kid and saying, "Oh, that's not how you spell penny," and then realizing it was a person's name.
Yeah, that one I'm not sure of.
Okay, I am.
Yep.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Everybody says mirror, mirror on the wall, and that's what we thought it was, right?
Right.
But they say it's magic mirror. It says magic mirror now. Magic mirror on the wall, right?
No, I'm still hearing mirror, mirror on the wall. Even songs and stuff.
Oh, so which one is it?
I've always heard mirror, mirror.
Well, I looked it up on in the Hans Christian Andersen book, and I know. I think the thing is they say it's mirror, mirror, or they say it's magic mirror. So you agree that it wasn't changed?
No, I'm saying it was always mirror, mirror.
Oh, yeah, mirror, mirror. Okay, yeah, you're saying it's mirror, mirror, and they're saying they're saying it's magic mirror.
So I say it's changed. Yeah.
You're right. That's what okay. So you remember it as mirror, mirror, and now they're saying it's magic mirror.
Right? I'm
Right?
57. That's going way back.
Yeah. So they're
But
saying it said on the shows now show it's saying magic mirror. Right?
That's what they're saying.
But you remember it as mirror, mirror. Yeah, I do
50
too.
years ago, easily.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. So that one may got us. What about Oscar Mayer?
Is it M-E-Y or A-Y?
O-S-C-A-R-M-A-Y-E-R.
Oh, yeah. My baloney has a first name. It's O-S-C-A-R. My baloney has a second name. It's M-A-Y-E-R. M-A-Y-E-R.
They're saying Mandela Effect changed it to M-A-Y-E-R because they say it used to be M-E-R-E-R.
M-E-Y-E-R?
Yeah. That's not how the saying goes, though. That's not the song, is it?
I remember the kid sitting there with the little fishing
Exactly.
rod. Okay. M-A-Y. M-E-Y.
Right.
No, he would never say E-Y. It's A-Y.
Exactly.
Okay.
It doesn't fit with the song. So you and I are on the same page. So Mandela didn't get you on that.
Not on that one, nope.
Okay. Looney Tunes.
So that means mass hallucination there with that M-A-Y-E-R, right? E-Y.
That's what I'm saying with a lot of this stuff.
Well, so that one, Oscar Mayer is mass hallucination, but
the rest of them are good.
I know Curious George, the
All right.
Monopoly guy, and Fruit Loops. Okay, but anyway,
Okay, what about, what did I just say?
we're talking about Oscar Mayer.
Oh, no, I already said that one. Oh, Looney Tunes.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I used to watch it every Saturday.
All right. How do you spell it? Looney is what?
Well, I was only like 5, 6 years old. Let's see, Looney, L-O-O-N. I don't know that one.
Looney.
I was too busy looking at
Looney
Bugs Bunny
Tunes as Looney cartoons or Looney Tunes like songs?
Oh, okay, T-U-N-E-S or T-O-O-N-S, right? Let me think here. Looney Tunes. I don't know that one.
I always remembered Looney Tunes like music tunes. And the reason I remember that, again, because it was from Merry Melodies, Looney Tunes. It was never Looney Tunes like cartoons. But they're saying it was.
With the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner show? Yep.
Yeah, and all that.
Saturday morning? Yeah.
So there's one that you didn't know, you don't know about. All right, so
Right.
Shazam.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, what's
Shazam,
no,
right?
I know. But the thing is who starred in it or whatever. They say people. Oh, yeah, people say Sinbad played Shazam. Wait. Hold on. No, he never played the genie.
Oh, okay.
Several people say that they remember seeing him in a movie called Shazam, but it was Shaquille O'Neal who played Kazam. They mistaken the two. All right, so let me find another one of these. Luke, I am your father from Star Trek of Empire Strikes Back. Do you remember that line? He only said, no, I am your father. They said he never said, Luke, I am your father. But people use that reference because they address who he was talking to. Location of New Zealand. Do you hear this one? In relationship to Australia. If you look at the map, you'll see it's southeast of the country. However, there's a community that say that New Zealand was northeast and it moved. They moved a whole country. Mickey Mouse.
M-I-C-K-Y or E-Y?
No,
right?
not about the name. People said that he was wearing suspenders. Has he always
I
been
think I
wearing?
remember that one. Fairly certain.
They're
He had
saying-
suspenders.
Sex in the City. Do you remember that one?
In or and? Let's see. I remember. Well, I never watched it, but sex. I remember it was like. I think it was in this. Let's see. And I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Not sure.
I mean, I didn't watch Sex in the City, but I have enough knowledge of it to know that it's Sex and the City because I remember
Right.
that I didn't like the show as it was, and I remember hearing people say Sex in the City, and when I saw it posted, I realized it was Sex and the City. But people swear it was changed, Darren. Febreze. You remember it with two E's or one E?
Let's see. Febreze. Let's see. I'm not sure on that one. I think it was just one.
One E. People remember it with two. Skechers with a T or no?
Not sure on that one.
All right. It's without a T and people remember it with a T. Kit Kats.
Kitkats.
Nope. Kit Kat.
Kitkat.
The question is, was there a dash between it?
Oh, yes, there was a dash. I remember the dash.
Okay, there's no dash now. Never
Okay,
was
so
a
there's
dash.
another one. There's four. I clearly remember a dash.
I remember no dash. I don't remember a dash. Fruit of the Loom.
Double O.
Cornucopia or without?
Cornucopia.
With the, horn behind it? The fruit with the horn? Or without?
I'd have to see that. What the heck is a cornucopia?
With
That's like a corn husk or something.
with the horn, like horn for the food horn there.
Oh, okay, right, that thing. Oh, right, okay.
Yep. Didn't have
Like you
one.
see the fruit baskets on Thanksgiving.
Never
Okay.
had one.
No, okay.
Cheez-It or Cheez-Its?
Let's see.
Cheez-It.
Not sure on that one.
People remember the Z at the end only because when you say I want to Cheez-It, they say, "Oh, I want Cheez-Its," and people automatically have that in their head. Do you know double stuffed Oreos at all? One F or two Fs? You don't remember that one?
I used to eat them too.
All right.
I think I don't know. I'm not
They
sure.
had
on
it
that
with
either.
one F. People remember two. Flintstones with a T, Flint or no T? Flintstones.
Not sure on that. I used to watch it all the time too.
I used to
but
watch it,
obviously
and I remember it as the Flintstones. The reason why is because they take it from the word flint. It was Flintstones. I remember that. Yeah. And people remember it as Flintstones. No T. So that's another memory that people have that they don't realize. What about what's that character that Tom Hanks played?
Let's see. Shit. What the heck's that name? I've never seen the movie, but Tom Hanks and
It's Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. That's it.
All right, so Forrest Gump, what did he say? What's that famous line he said about box of chocolates? They say he said, "Life is like a box of chocolates." But he didn't say that. If you listen closely, he actually said life was like a box of chocolates. People say, I remember distinctly it was life is, because they remember hearing it that way, Darren. Ed McMahon, what was he part of?
Wrestling.
Nope, the Clearinghouse.
Oh, Ed McMahon. Oh, yeah, right. With actually Johnny Carson, Tonight Show.
Yeah, but what was he part of? The Clearinghouse. What?
Oh,
remember?
yeah, the Publishers Clearinghouse giveaway or something.
What they said is they said that they remember him handing out checks.
Yeah, something like that, whatever that was.
Was he handing out checks?
Well, he was doing something.
People
I remember
said
he was affiliated with something.
He handed families giant checks, but he was never a spokesperson for the company. He worked for the publisher, and he never handed out any checks. His face was simply used for the envelopes. I thought he handed out checks. Though. I thought he handed out checks.
He did. He absolutely did.
No.
Yeah, it was on a commercial with a giant check holding at somebody's door.
All right. So. In Casablanca, what's the famous line?
Here's looking at you, kid.
Play it again. Play it again, Sam. That's what they said. Sure. He said, play it once, Sam, for old time's sake. But people remember it as play it again, Sam. See, a lot of times people shorten or get the quote. They shorten it or paraphrase the quotes, and then it gets known as that. And then when it's changed or when you're brought to the memory that that's not what it said, people get all upset and they think it changed. Mm-hmm. Mr. Rogers' theme song. It's a beautiful day. Remember that one?
Kind of.
Oh, well,
not really into
they
Mr.
remember
Rogers
it as it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. But he actually said, if you listen closely, it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
People have
He was a Freemason, by the way.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Or are you just speculating with
no, that's what I heard.
Uncircumstantial evidence? We hear a lot of things. I hear that Trump is a 33rd degree Mason. And when I asked for evidence, because I always want to call for evidence, they said, well, he must be. That was their evidence. Smokey Bear. Is it Smokey the Bear or Smokey Bear?
Smokey the Bear. Nope. Remember, it used to be the Bear.
It's Smokey Bear. We say Smokey the Bear, but accordingly, Billy Graham. Now, people said that just like the Mandela Effect, they remember Billy Graham's funeral aired on TV in February of 2018. Oh, no, it happened in 2018, but they remember it happening in the 90s. Now, we know Billy Graham kept going. He just died, wasn't he 100 years old or 99 years old or something like that? Mm-hmm. You remember he died in 2018, right? He didn't die in the 90s.
Hmm. Well, speaking of Mr. Rogers, here's one you can watch on YouTube of him showing kids how to make a satanic hand sign right here. Okay? So, and Freemason, so you can look it up for yourself.
All right.
Google it. You'll see factual proof that he was a Freemason. Yeah, so.
Okay, maybe.
Yep.
All right.
Curious George had a tail.
Okay. I don't remember him having a tail. What did Captain Kirk say when he was getting beamed up?
Beam me up, Scotty, or something like that?
Never said that.
That's what people say.
That's what they
I never
say.
actually watched Star Trek.
Scotty, beam us up.
Mhm.
See, we have a lot of memories from things that we recited wrong, heard wrong, or was paraphrased. So we can't unsubstantially, or we can't substantially, Darrin, say that we know for a fact it was changed on some of these things. I mean, some things we all have the same memory of. So, I mean, you know,
Well,
I still don't think...
Isn't it a little stretching it on your part, thinking that you know everything in regards to dimensions and time and space and relativity and the possibility of other portals? And
Yep, probably is.
Because I've encountered things that were so bizarre, I wouldn't think of mentioning this on your broadcast right now, because people would think I was a nut.
I would say that based on my information and how I perceive it, I would think that there is no possible way two opposites can run at the same time. Therefore, it can't be two simultaneous running dimensions. But what do I know about quantum physics? So, but I'm just saying I don't agree with it, and I don't think it could be. That doesn't mean it can't be, and I'm, open if somebody wants to show me emphaticable proof of it. But until they're speculating, I don't really have to buy into it, because they're just speculating, just as much as I may be speculating to you that I don't believe in it. So it's the same.
Well, if you look at Nikola Tesla's and discoveries and how they were able to teleport and do other things with dimensionals and the ships and disappearing and things I've encountered, that's what I'm saying.
There's things that they can do with phenomenon. I do believe that there are weird things. I don't discount that. But
so why not the Mandela Effect? Yeah, it's possible.
Well, because a lot of things
much more bizarre than the Mandela Effect that are possible.
Yeah, because a lot of things that people believe about the Mandela Effect, I believe the opposite. So either my speculation's wrong or their speculation's wrong. So either one of us are wrong, so therefore we're in a mute place of disagreement. Therefore, if I clearly remember Berenstain Bears, and I clearly remember J.C. Penney, and I clearly remember certain things that I mentioned, and they clearly remember against that, who am I to argue? I'm just saying I don't remember that. I don't think based on what I remember there isn't a Mandela Effect. Based what other people think they remember it is, they believe there is a Mandela Effect. So basically, the 2 points are speculative, and subjective. It's subjective. I'm bringing my subjective, though, that I remember these things, and I'm not bending to not remember them. I remember Nelson Mandela in jail and released. Therefore, I would take the whole basis of the Mandela Effect, that it was based on Mandela, and I don't agree with the whole premise. Therefore, my speculation or my subjection is that it doesn't exist.
And my speculation is it does, because I clearly remember the guy had an eyepiece on the Monopoly game, the top hat guy. So clear, I remember that more than anything. All right, so he doesn't have it today.
You can base on those couple things that you believe in the Mandela Effect, and I'll base on those things that I know that there isn't a Mandela Effect, and I guess we'll have to agree to disagree.
Well, I'll tell you, facts is not based on a positive supporting evidence, but a lack of negative credible evidence. And all it takes is one piece of negative credible evidence to overthrow a theory. Your theory is that it does not exist, but since
because I remember it. So somebody's going to tell me that their basis of negative about it supersedes my remembrance of it.
No, all it takes is one bit of negative to overthrow your theory. And my negative credible evidence is that guy had an eyepiece. I'm more positive that than anything.
Well, I said that one I'm not sure of.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Right,
yeah.
Right. Well, that's all it takes is one like that, and that proves
that doesn't prove it. Because I remember some that people say that was changed, and I remember they weren't changed. So therefore,
all it takes is one.
Right. So does my one that I remember wasn't changed supersede their remembering it was changed?
It doesn't matter in that. As long as there is one that counteracts the...
Wait. Hold on a second.
Not being
You're saying
factual.
that somebody that believes it was Berenstain Bears, that's a negative to what I believe, they're right over me remembering it was Berenstain Bears because they negatively believe me?
Wait, I'm going by your premise. Your premise is that it does not exist, but all it takes is one to prove that it does, and that overthrows your premise that it does not. And that top hat guy in Monopoly had an eyepiece, and
Yeah.
that proves the Mandela effect exists, at least in that one circumstance.
Wait,
Maybe everything else is speculative, but that one
incident.
instance, all it takes is one.
So I would say that maybe I would agree with you on that.
So how would we explain that then? Because let's just focus on that one right there.
I know that's one, but how
Yep.
out of the 100 that we mentioned, most of them I remember as the opposite of what the Mandela effect is saying.
Right.
So how
believe what
do
you're saying.
I explain that? How do we explain that? How do you explain me remembering all those things the right way that they are now, as opposed to what people say they remember it being the other way? Who's right?
Right, that's a good point there. Yes, I see what you're saying there.
Right. So they're just because they negatively remember it opposite of me doesn't make them right.
Right. Sure. I
Now,
agree there. Yes.
collectively, if 99 people saw it as Berenstain Bears and I was the only one that saw it as Berenstain Bear, then I guess maybe the consensus has to be right? Because there can't be 99 wrong people in a crowd, right? Ever.
Possible.
Oh, yeah, they can be, can they? So therefore, it's speculative at this point. When I remember a lot of these things being the right way that they are now, and other people remember them being the other way, assuming they changed. So therefore, they're saying I'm wrong. So somebody saying I'm wrong compared to me saying that they're wrong. How can we come to a conclusion on that besides proving it? And if I prove it by showing you artifacts from the past, you'll say, well, they were all changed. How can I argue against that? I can't, even though I remember emphatically that was the way it is now. Therefore, they would say, I am the one that is wrong, but I have the evidence behind me. I remember it that way, and it's still like that. I'm actually the one that has the evidence, not them.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be careful.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, we have to be careful. So basically, some things we remember one way and some things we remember the other way. Sometimes there's groups that remember the whole thing wrong, and sometimes there's only certain people that remember the things wrong. But I remember some of these things, and I don't care if it goes against the crowd. I remember because I questioned these things back then. So therefore, if a whole crowd wants to charge me and say, you're wrong because you don't believe the Mandela effect on that, I have to say you're not going to be able to change my mind because I remember clearly the opposite. I can't speak for the monocle. I don't know. Did he have one? I don't know. I kind of remember he did. And I'm not saying that proves the Mandela effect, but out of all the things we argue that were changed, some of them we remember that they weren't changed. So what are we saying? The Mandela effect only affected the monocle? And nothing else? You see what I'm saying? Is it just that one thing that we have to argue because we remember that one thing? You didn't remember the rest of the things I brought up, so therefore you can't argue those things. So you're just going by that one thing that you think has changed, and that makes the whole Mandela effect valid. I don't.
All it takes is one. All it takes is one.
Okay.
That's the way science looks at it. They say it's not validated by positive supporting evidence, but a lack of negative credible evidence. And that's one piece of negative credible evidence that overthrows your...
All right. Let me say this way, Darrin. Berenstain Bears and Mandela were two other ones that everybody remembers the wrong way, right? I remember it clearly. Mandela was released from prison, and I remember Berenstain Bears. Now, by your claim just now, doesn't my proof have any credibility to be taken as...
No, all I said is it takes just one to overthrow your hypothesis.
Right. Then wouldn't it take one of mine to overthrow their hypothesis?
No.
Why?
That's not the way that works.
Why can't it work that way? Why can't I have a proof also? I have a bunch of proofs. I remember.
All it takes is one to prove the Mandela effect.
All right. I remember Jif. They don't remember Jif. I remember J.C. Penney with an E. They don't remember J.C. Penney with an E. I remember Fruit Loops without the... that one I can't say. I don't remember.
That one was I clearly... I used to eat that all the time.
So you have two. You have two. All right. So you have two that you remember.
George had a tail.
Okay. I don't remember he had a tail.
He had a tail.
Okay,
Yes.
he didn't have a tail. There's when we are. Okay, so you said all it takes is yours to say that you have the evidence to or you have the proof with your side because you don't remember you remember him with a tail, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember him with a tail. So don't I have any proof? Are you saying my proof doesn't count? And he still doesn't have a tail. Therefore, I even have the testable evidence with me. You can't deny that.
That he doesn't have a tail.
Yeah.
No, because I clearly remember.
No. You're
tail.
saying just because you remember overseeds my remembering he doesn't have a tail.
Well, it's all
just
based
because
on
you don't
memory.
remember.
Obviously, the Mandela effect cannot, in that sense, that regard, be proven, but through our minds. And I clearly remember. So I guess it's a fact is established in a person's mind, their mental, state.
If I say Flintstones always had a T, Flint stones, and someone says, no, I remember clearly it didn't have a T and it's changed now, their proof of I believe it didn't have a T supersedes my establishment that it had a T all along.
I see what you're saying there. Yeah, but
okay.
Like I said, it's all
now
I guess
it's all
subjective
speculative.
To the person.
It's subjective.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I wish we had photographs. Wouldn't that have been nice if we had somehow like an Instamatic back in the 70s?
No. They said that everything in the
Even
past that we
photos.
have photographs of and proofs of, and people that have nostalgia from back then, it's all changed. The Mandela effect changed the pictures.
Man,
That's
I
what
heard
I'm
that
saying.
Too. Okay, yeah.
So you can't use that. Now we don't have any proof that's even testable, Darren.
This is
Because
weird.
it changed. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now your whole theory of proving fact is irrelevant.
So,
Because you can't
so
even
we
prove
can't
it.
really prove
Can't
the
even test
Mandela
it.
effect.
Can't
You can't
test
prove
it.
it. Yeah, or test
Nope.
it. Yeah, right.
Can't prove for it or against it. So I guess
It's a psyop,
yes,
basically.
Yes.
Yeah?
See
If
my
it's
point?
true.
Now you're getting my
Yep.
point. Okay, good.
Right. Yeah, I knew it all along.
Well, let's clear this clutter up right now and end it. All right. For those of you tuning in still, we had fun with this one. My website is still jimdukeperspective.com, unless it got changed in the Mandela effect. Actually, it got changed by YouTube and Facebook, but to the rest of the world, it's still that. So we'll see you next time. God bless.